Mayor, thanks for having us here in Arlington.
Thank you for coming.
The letter you sent with Mayor Nierenberg from San Antonio, do you think that letter and the thousands of Texas auto workers helped influence this decision for the president to delay these tariffs for another month?
I don't know. I know that the big three auto manufacturers here went to the White House, had a visit with the president. Subsequent to that, there was a delay on the tariffs regarding the automotive industry. I think that probably had a greater influence than Mayor Nierenberg and I writing a letter to our congressman.
Did you hear back from anybody in Congress?
We have not.
There's a lot in play, so it's not that may be not surprising, I guess. You call the tariffs a, quote, job-killing threat. How bad could it get in Arlington if these tariffs are enacted next month?
I guess that's the problem is there's a lot of uncertainty on there. We don't know how bad it's going to hurt us, but all the experts indicate it could be substantial. Materials that are used in the building of our SUVs here in Arlington, all of GM's SUVs from an Escalade to a Suburban to a Tahoe, you name it, they're built here in Arlington. A lot of the materials come from out of the country and they go back and forth. They come in, they get assembled to a certain extent, they go back to Mexico or another country. They come back. Those are tariffs that could be implemented coming and going on multiple occasions. That cost is passed on to the ultimate consumer, and it's worrisome. Is that going to drive the cost of SUVs so high that we're going to sell fewer SUVs now? And if that's the case, what's going to happen to all the auto workers here if we don't have as many SUVs rolling off the assembly line?
If these tariffs are enacted, how much could the price go up for a Chevy Tahoe or a Suburban or an Escalade? Any idea? Have you heard from?
Yeah, I've heard different expectations that it could be as little as $8,000 to $10,000 per vehicle, or as much as 15 to 20. That's a substantial increase in the cost of an SUV.
What's the threat of tariffs like right now for Arlington, for the thousands of workers over here at the GM plant?
Well, Texas is a neighboring city or state, rather, to Mexico here. We get a lot of produce from Mexico. We're certainly concerned about that cost on the tariffs associated with the Mexican border and the cost associated with the Canadian border. We get a lot of oil coming out of Canada as well. What is that going to do to gas prices? What is that going to do to the grocery prices, the cost of produce here in the United States, here in Texas? My focus is on what's going on here in Arlington, and all of these things will have a direct impact on my citizens here in Arlington.
Is the threat of these tariffs unnerving for the folks here in Arlington? I mean, Arlington, for people who haven't been here, is a very, very thriving place. It's on the up and up. There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, I think right now it's a whole wait and see type of mentality on how this is going to impact us. There's a good part of the community that has tremendous trust in the administration and in the government, that they think that we're going to be on the right path going forward. There's another huge part of the community that has zero trust in government and is very concerned about the path that this has taken us. I come from a different background. I'm a Marine. I'm a police officer. I'm a very sort of regimented. This is my president. I'm going to support our president. This is who is elected. But I'm certainly concerned about the citizens here in Arlington. I'm certainly concerned about their ability to afford to put food on the table, their ability to buy vehicles, their ability to put gas in those vehicles if they get them. And these tariffs are substantial. And then, Mexico and Canada are our closest allies. We've never had a tariff war with them like we're having now. I feel like we're picking a fight with our brother and sister.
You also said in your letter there is no time to take a wait and see attitude or grant the president the benefit of the doubt here. Do you still feel that way with the April 2nd tariffs looming on us?
Yeah, it's problematic. We have 5,200 auto workers here at the General Motors assembly plant here in Arlington. I'm certainly concerned with their livelihood. General Motors is a massive part of our community. They are engaged in our community on all fronts, and I'm concerned about what's going to happen to General Motors, to other assembly. I grew up in Detroit, I grew up in the auto industry. My father's retired from Chrysler. I'm concerned about what it's going to do to the auto industry, what it's going to do to the country as a whole.
In your gut, do you think these are going to happen, or is this just political posturing?
I think it's going to happen.
You think so?
I do. I pray it doesn't, but I think it's going to happen, at least for a period of time, for however long that is. I'm not sure, but these are substantial things. Well, it's already happened to some extent. Tariffs have been implemented, and so I don't know. It's a lot of the uncertainty of what's happening with tariffs or executive orders or on the immigration front. There's a lot, that uncertainty or the threat of it all is certainly problematic.
Does a Texan benefit, do you think, in any way from the tariffs? President Trump says it levels the playing field for Texas businesses.
I don't know. I don't see a benefit. Maybe the president knows better than I on this. And I, as my commander-in-chief, I want to give the administration the benefit of the doubt. I'm very concerned. Tariffs, the cost of tariffs is not paid by Mexico or Canada. It's not paid by China. It's paid by the end user, the consumer. That's the citizens here in the United States. That's our citizens in Texas. So it's U.S. citizens who are paying the price of the tariffs. I don't understand how that levels the playing field. We have reciprocal tariffs now going with Canada, and we're going to have reciprocal tariffs with Mexico. If we take a step back to 30 days ago, we had reciprocal tariffs then, but they were 0 and 0. So how does making the end user pay more beneficial for anybody?
And the USMCA is something that President Trump renegotiated in his first term too.
It is, absolutely.
Couple last questions here. Can you, in this office right here, do anything to insulate your citizens in Arlington from these tariffs if they happen?
We can educate people.
What do you tell them, though? How do you educate them?
Good question. We talk about what's important in their back pocket. That ultimately it's not Mexico and Canada paying for these tariffs. It's you paying for these tariffs. I think there's a misconception that we're not paying for the tariffs. We certainly are paying for the tariffs. Even the president in his address to Congress the other night mentioned that there's going to be a bump in the road, or however he described it, a tough time at first. How big is that tough time? How big of a hit is that going to hit our citizens? How big of a hit is it going to hit our community here in Arlington? My job is to do the best I can for the people here. I don't have the authority to override what's going on in the federal government. I just don't. We're stuck with doing the best we have with what's left over, and that's problematic.
I want to ask you about some good news. That's the World Cup coming next year to Arlington. Huge news here. But last time you and I talked, it was about transportation. I know there's a million things going on, but Arlington doesn't have the mass transit that most people think of, like DART and Dallas and other places like that. Last time you and I spoke, it was, hey, we're talking to Mayor Parker in Fort Worth. We're talking to Mayor Johnson and Dallas and all the other players trying to make sure that everything's going to be seamless. What's the latest on mass transit, getting people in and out of Arlington for the games next year?
You know, we have a program going with RTC right now.
Regional Transportation Council.
Regional Transportation Council here with Michael Morris and them over there. We're going to be providing bus transportation from Centerport, which is right there on the line, the T-Metro line that's just north of Arlington in Fort Worth. We'll be providing bus transportation down to the entertainment district from the Centerport, so people can take the T-Metro right here to the northern edge of Arlington and take the buses right into the entertainment district. We've also expanded our VIA program to have these larger buses that are going to be, they're not as big as a regular DART bus or something like that, but they're like 15, 20 passenger buses that will be running from Centerport down to the entertainment district as well.
Is everything going to be centered through Centerpoint, do you think, funneled through there?
A lot of Centerport stuff is going to be bringing people in like that. Yeah. And then inside Arlington with our rideshare program, you know, everybody else is going to rideshare now. We started this 5-6 years ago. Now you see T-Metro using it, you see DART using it, you see Denton County Transit Authority using rideshare. Grand Prairie's using rideshare. We started the rideshare program, and now what we're seeing is it's catching on. You know, I think the days of having buses run around the city is becoming obsolete. You're seeing these big buses with 4 or 5 passengers. That doesn't make sense. When you have a rideshare program, it's not necessarily door to door, but it's a whole lot better than a fixed route bus system. And people can get around Arlington extraordinarily well. I just got back from Seoul, South Korea last year, where Arlington was the only U.S. city getting a Smart City Award for our autonomous vehicle program. We do about 2,000 rides a week with driverless vehicles here in Arlington. That's spectacular when you think about everything else going on around here. And we got some cool things coming down the pipeline with transportation. So,
but that would just supplement the crowds and the T-Metro and the buses you have, right?
It's just going to supplement everything like that. You know, here's how you weigh this stuff. You look at how do we handle the ingress and egress of people getting in and out of our entertainment district during our big events, our Cowboy games, our Taylor Swift concerts, our WrestleManias. How are we getting in and out of there? And statistically, we fare better than virtually every other city in the country when it comes to being able to get people in and out of the stadium areas and all that. We'll clear everybody out on the biggest events within 90 minutes. And most of those events are 45 minutes or 50 minutes.
Yeah, you guys do a good job with that. Last question. ESPN had a report the other day that said that the U.S. travel system, everything from the booking systems for hotels and rental cars and airlines down to the actual, you know, physical places, they just are not ready for what's going to happen with the World Cup. Are you confident that this is going to be pulled off without a hitch?
Yeah, I can't speak to other communities, but our North Texas community here, we're going to show the world that this is why we got 9 games here, because we're more equipped to handle it than any other place. I'm biased. I'm not going to lie.
But you think airlines and hotels will be able to get these folks here without any problems?
Are you kidding me? Arlington is the closest big city to DFW Airport. You can get from DFW Airport to virtually anywhere in the world, almost non-stop anywhere. One of the best airports around, and we're right down the road from them, 15 minutes from there. You can get to AT&T Stadium 15 minutes from the airport. We have massive hotels all through North Texas that are more than equipped to handle all of this stuff. I'm not worried about what North Texas is going to be doing, and I can't speak to other communities, but there's nobody better equipped than North Texas.
Mayor, thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.